installing a Barnett clutch conversion, spring conversion kit. There it is. Barnett spring conversion kit on a 2001 Yamaha Midnight Star / Roadstar. Okay, step one, remove all the oil, which I've done, drain the oil. Step two, taking off all the linkage, shifting linkage, footrest, gear shift, to get to the covers. Okay, the reason for the cardboard, I took the gasket, I outlined on the cardboard where the different bolts go. The same bolts that are on the cover. This way, when I take them off, since they're different lengths, I can put each bolt in the cardboard so that I put them back correctly where they go as I take them off, as opposed to putting them in one pile and trying to figure it out afterwards. Okay, now I have the floorboard assembly taken off and the clutch cable disconnected. Time to start taking some bolts out. I have also put in some ground coverage. I have some cardboard under there because when I take the side cover off, there's still going to be some oil in there that's going to drip out. Probably at that time we'll put some towels and whatever as I get closer to removing the side cover so that I don't get oil all over the ground. Okay, so far I have removed the kickstand sensor in order to get to the bottom bolt. I've also removed the cover here. No need for a gasket as it does not retain any oil. There is 2 dowels to keep in mind. I believe one here and one down here. Now I'm going to remove the side casing, and that will have oil behind it, so again I will prepare the bottom for any spillage of oil. And so now I'm going to go ahead and take that off. I'm also removing the bolts and putting them in this cardboard cutout so that I put all the bolts back in their required holes, as some are different lengths. Okay, it appears that I've taken all the bolts out. They're on my cardboard cutout, so I know exactly where the bolts go back into the side cover. I've taken all the bolts out of the side cover now, and I've put some newspaper below, as well as a piece of cardboard and a towel, just in case, so that when I remove the side cover, oil doesn't spill everywhere. And I'm getting ready to do that now. Of course, I have already drained all the oil from the crankcase, from the filter and everything else, so there should be very little oil left in this behind the side cover. Okay, what I've done so far is I've taken off the side cover. I've taken off the side cover here from the engine block, and there's a wire from here. It goes around the inside of the cavity to the front here, some kind of an electronic fixture there, and the wires leading out and up under here and going up here and up into the box here. Let me make sure that you can see that on film. Okay. That wire is coming up here, and it plugs into one of these plugs here. What I've done is I've unplugged it, and it's now, the plug is resting here right before the clasp, and that relieves some tension from the side cover. That relieves some tension here on the side cover, so that I can just put my side cover here. I have it resting on a box so that it doesn't get scratched. This way I can clean the edge of the side cover, make sure that the block, engine block where the side cover meets is clean as well before putting the gasket. But now I have the clutch exposed, no oil dripped as I drained it really well, and now I'm going to attempt to remove the 6 bolts that hold on the mechanism here, the clutch. Okay, now I have removed the 6 bolts, the little small pressure plate number 2, the clutch spring diaphragm, the spring housing, and getting ready. The spring housing and the pressure plate 1 are still on there. I'm getting ready to remove that, but just wanted to show you what I've done so far. And those are the pieces I removed. Again, the outer pressure plate, the 6 bolts, the diaphragm, and now getting ready to remove the main pressure plate with the gasket. Okay, there's the pressure plate number 1 with the spring housing, what looks to be a gasket. All I did was pull it out with everything else. No bolts holding that on. And there's my clutch assembly. All the entire clutch is sitting there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the Barnett spring conversion kit. And while I took off the pressure plate number 1, this bolt here was behind the plate. Here, let me show you. It was behind the plate just like so. You can see that there. And the threads were facing back towards the back of the bike so that it can engage the clutch. Also, this just comes off, and you put it behind the Barnett clutch, behind the bearings of the plate. Okay, what I've done here is I just kind of put 1 bolt in there just to hold this in place, to show you that right now we have a gap here. Right there, there's a big gap. That is not supposed to be. So what you're going to do is you're just going to rotate this disc until you do not have a gap, and I'll show you in just a minute what I'm talking about. Okay, I have rotated this disc 1 slot over, just 1 slot over where the springs go, and as you can see, it filled the gap. There's no more gap there where there shouldn't be a gap right there between your plates and the Barnett plate. That gap is now closed. I'm going to proceed now to put the springs and the bolts in. Okay, the Barnett spring conversion kit is now in place. I've been told that the 6 bolts that hold it to the clutch should be torqued between 5 and 8 pounds. I went ahead and torqued them down 6 pounds each. They don't need to be muscled on. You'll snap them and then you're in a real rut. 6 pounds of torque is all I used. Now I'm getting ready to clean the case and the block where the gasket goes before applying the gasket, and job will pretty much be done. Now keep in mind that this here is supposed to be loose like this. The threads do go facing towards the back, and they will go on the cover. That's supposed to be a little tricky putting it back on, but once you get it engaged and it's all in there, it should be fine. But to have it loose like this is normal right now. For those of you who have never done this job before, a little tidbit of information. Getting the old gasket off the casing right here. It's black in color, such as it is right here. Let me see if I can focus in on that a little bit, so you can see what I mean. As you can see, it's black right here. That is still the old gasket. The surface should be clean, such as you see right here, silver. Again, on the side, on the outer case, should be clean. You need to have all this gasket right here should look like this, silver. And the only way I can find to do it is with, number one, a lot of patience. It's going to take time. And what I am using is just a regular straight razor, taking my time. I don't want to use anything such as a putty knife or anything like that, because you don't want to scrape the surface and gouge it. You might create a leak once the oil is in there. So just so you know, a lot of patience, a small blade, and as you can see, I have a towel surrounding the clutch housing, everything. You don't want all that stuff to fall in there in the basket. You want to catch it all. And oh boy, that's gonna seem to be taking the longest part of this job, is getting the old gasket off. It's on there, trust me. Okay, I finally got the gasket off. It goes all the way around the gasket, everywhere this pointer is going. This was black before. Now it's silver, as it should be. You do not want to leave any residue on this area, any old gasket, because you'll create a leak when you put the new one on and bolt it down. I did it, as I showed earlier, with a razor blade, and took me about an hour and 45 minutes. It just kept coming off in little pieces. This is a 2001 Midnight Star, and so that gasket was probably the original gasket, and it's been there all those years, many years. So it was really on there, real tough. Took me forever to scrape it off, but you need to scrape it off thoroughly in order for the new gasket to work properly. The cover, which is down here, was also scraped around the entire edge, which is now clean, and time to put this thing together. Takes I went through 4 razor blades and a lot of patience. Okay, everything's coming along just fine. I put the clutch cover on. I connected the clutch cable. Everything's coming around just fine. I cleaned everything up as I'm doing it, and the next will be the front cover and the steps that follow thereafter. Okay, everything is complete now. All the covers are on. Everything's looking good. Everything's tight. I put oil in it, started it up. Everything seems to be functioning properly. The clutch is grabbing. Another fine day in the neighborhood.